Shalom, shalom, shalom. I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. Yahweh being the name of the Heavenly Father, who the world calls God. Yahweh Shai being the name of his beloved Son, who the world inwardly calls Jesus. This is the brother Yair Radad of WFI Indiana Camp, coming at y'all with a quick cold cut through the spirit on just understanding that the Lord is proving you. Okay, the things that we go through in life, overall, the Lord is proving us. Yeah, judgment happens. You understand, this happens, that happens, so on and so forth. But ultimately, right, we have to get proved by the Lord. We got to, the same way that you would prove a woman. When you court a woman, or for a woman, when you court a man, you're proving them. It's the whole point of the courting process. It's because you're literally proving them to see, you understand, different, it could be different, all types of different stuff. But at the end of the day, it comes down to what? Are you for them, or are they for you? Vice versa, whatever the case may be. And that's how the Lord is doing with us, individually, as well as a nation, when we had to get proved. Because the Lord, let me get this precept real quick in the book of Job. The Lord can deal, like we say all the time, with a nation of people, or he could deal with an individual, right, on many different levels, right? This is the book of Job, chapter 34 and verse 29, says, when he giveth quietness, who can make trouble? And when he hideth his face, who can behold him? Whether it be done against a nation or against a man only. So guess what? The Lord is proven, or has proved, Israel as a nation once before, right? We're going to get into that. Also, the Lord can prove you individually, and has to and will prove you, whether or not we're worthy to be able to be, saved in that day, right? In the end, when it all comes down. So the point is, at the end of the day, it's good to remember, and it's good to understand that you're being proved. The things that you go through, guess what? You're being proved. These spirits that's even here upon the face of the earth, guess what? Yeah, they have their purpose and what they do, but at the end of the day, guess what? You got to get proved on if you're going to choose life or death. You're going to choose the Lord, right? Or Satan. Are you going to choose lust, or are you going to choose righteousness? Are you going to, it's a proven process. All right, let's go to the book. We're going to hop right into it. All right, we're going to hop right into it. Let's go to the book. All right, Deuteronomy, chapter 8. Let's look at Deuteronomy, chapter 8, and verse 1. It says, all the commandments I command you this day shall ye observe to do, that ye may live and multiply, and go in and possess the land which the Lord sware unto your fathers. It says, and thou shalt remember all the way which the Lord God led thee these 40 years in the wilderness, to humble thee and to prove thee. It said these 40 years to humble thee and to prove thee. Right now, a lot of times you see that that 40 number, right? Moses in the mount for 40 days, right? Fasting, right? Christ, right? He fasted for 40 days and 40 nights, right? The Lord had us in the wilderness for 40 years, right? That number 40, right? 4 is just spiritual, right? 4 is spiritual, just going into what? It's going into just right? You got 3, right? Which is that perfect or complete number. And then you got 4, which is basically like max, or not max necessarily, but indefinite. Let's get that in the book of Amos. You see it throughout the scriptures from time to time. And then we're going to hop right back into it. It's the book of Amos. It's the book of Amos, chapter 1, right, and verse 6. It says, thus saith the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Gaza, right? So 3. And then it says, and for 4, meaning for sure. Like this is, for 3 is enough, right? 3 strikes you out, right? Or the Lord will speak it to man 3 times. You understand? So on and so forth. But that 4, that's the next one above what 3, which is just going into a indefinite, or for sure, or some will say complete, whatever the case may be. But it's basically just going into a indefinite, or I'm trying to think of other words to use, but it's basically just complete. All right. Right, but it said, I'll read that one more time, right? This Amos 1:6, it says, thus saith the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Gaza, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because thou carried away captive the whole captivity, to deliver them, to deliver them up to Edom. Right, so reading Deuteronomy chapter 8 and verse 2 again, it says, and thou shalt remember all the way which the Lord thy God led thee these 40 years in the wilderness, to humble thee and to prove thee, to know what is in thine heart, whether thou wouldest keep his commandment or no. So the Lord is on he even spoke. He like, hey, I proved you. Remember all the way in which I took you while you was in the wilderness for 40 years, going through all type of different things. All you gotta do is read the Torah. You understand it. You'll understand and know all the things in which the Lord brought us through, and the Lord put us through, and the situations you understand that we had to get ourselves out of, it, that we had to seek the Most High God about, that we had to get back on the Lord's good side after being on the Lord's bad. It's so much different stuff, right? But the point is, right, we had to get proved. We had to get proved as a nation. All right. Let's go to Judges chapter 3. All right. It's the book of Judges chapter 3 and verse 1. And then I'm going to drop down. It's the book of Judges chapter 3 and verse 1. It says, now these are the nations which the Lord left to prove Israel by them, even as many of Israel as had not known all the wars of Canaan. Right. So it said the Lord left behind nations just for Israel to fight against, basically, to prove Israel once more, whether that be in faith, you understand, righteousness, keeping the commandments of the Lord, etc., etc. Not being fearful, but having that trust in the Most High God, and to literally have them go to war, because they didn't this new generation that had rose up, right? They didn't fight all the different wars that you read about in the book of Exodus and Numbers and different stuff like that. All right, with Joshua and Caleb and all those. All right, but let's drop down to verse 4. It says, and they were to prove Israel by them, to know whether they would hearken unto the commandments of the Lord, which he commanded their fathers by the hand of Moses. And then it goes to list the different nations. So it's saying the Lord left these nations there to prove Israel, to see if they would keep the commandment of the Lord. And much like these spirits that come up against you in your day-to-day life, going to and fro throughout the earth, etc., etc., guess what? These spirits that's on the earth, guess what? In like manner, through the Spirit, they here to prove you as well. Because think about it. If you never fell into temptation, you never even had temptations come to you. Okay, you never had anything you had to deal with. You never had anything that you had to get on your hands and your knees and pray to the Father about them. Ask the Lord to take it away, forgiveness of sins, and so on and so forth. You would be perfect. You would be perfect. But we have to, matter of fact, let's get that in 2 Corinthians, classic. All right, this is the book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 12 and verse 8. All right, it says, I'll start at 7. It says, and I'm going to get right to the point. I'm going to just read 8, right? It says, for this thing I besought the Lord thrice, that it might depart from me. So Paul is saying that he besought the Lord 3 times that this particular thing would depart from him, talking about the thorn. It says, it says, verse 9, and he said unto me, my grace is sufficient for thee, For my strength is made perfect in weakness. All right. It says, most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in my infirmities, that the power of Hamashiach may rest upon me. So the Lord is not going to take every single thing from you. Every single temptation that you deal with, or every single spirit that you deal with, the Lord is not just going to take it away from you. Because if he did, well, hell, sooner or later, you're going to be perfect. After asking the Lord to take away okay, Lord, take away this, you praying, right? You fast, okay, boom, it's gone. You still praying, you do this, you do that, okay, it's gone. Hell, sooner or later, the Lord going to take everything away from you. But if he took everything away from you, then for one, you wouldn't need Yahushua, because you'd be perfect. There would be no need to repent at a certain point. Also, not only that, but like how would you get proved? It's not really you getting proved because you perfect, quote unquote. All right. So we have to fight these battles. We got to endure hardness. We got to go through these times where you fall and you may get down and low on yourself, but you got to get back up and continue to press on and continue to press towards the mark and continue to endure and continue to fight that fight. You understand, in the last days, against spiritual wickedness at high places and this and that and all these other different things, it all come back to the Lord proving us. We just get improved. We gotta go through. So I'm saying it over and over again. We have to go through these different things. We have to fight against these spirits. Ultimately, it's just about, hey, are you gonna choose the Lord? Is your will to choose the Father gonna be stronger than your will that your flesh has to want to sin? All right, that's what this, that's just what it gotta be. Your will to want to serve the Father and be righteous has to be stronger, right, than what the world has to offer in unrighteousness and in wickedness. And you got to choose the Lord daily. Every single day when you wake up, you got to choose the Lord. You got to choose righteousness. All right. So even if you got to say it, even if when you go on and you wake up in the morning, you brush your teeth and you say it out loud, however you got to do it, you got to choose the Lord and try to stay in the spirit as much as possible and walk in his ways as much as possible and please the Lord and make the Lord happy. All right. Let's get this in the book. Actually, we're going to go here, Salakia. Let's go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 1. And then I want to go back to Deuteronomy. It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 1, and verse 19. It says, if ye be willing and obedient, ye shall eat the good of the land. But if you refuse and rebel, you shall be devoured with the sword, for the mouth of the Lord has spoken it. That's what it's been since the beginning. All right. Since the beginning, that's what it's been. You either going to serve the Lord and obey the Father, or you're going to serve unrighteousness, wickedness. You understand? He gave the same thing to Adam and Eve. He gave the same thing to Cain, where he told Cain, he said, let's get that. Right? It's the book of Genesis. It's the book of Genesis, chapter 4 and verse. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 4 and verse 7. I'm gonna start at 6. It says, and the Lord said unto Cain, why art thou wroth, and why is thy countenance fallen? If thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted? And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door, and unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. So the Lord gave Adam and Eve, right? Cain, right? Abraham, everybody, you understand, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans in today's time. Guess what? You either gonna choose life or death. You either gonna choose to serve the Lord in righteousness, okay, or you're going to serve the world. You're going to serve unrighteousness. You're going to serve wickedness. You're going to serve Satan at the end of the day. All right? And that's what you got to choose. Let's get that in the book of Deuteronomy. Right where we left off. Deuteronomy 8. Let me know that. It's the book of Deuteronomy chapter 8 and or Salaki. Actually, I want Deuteronomy chapter. Bear with me. 15. It's the book of Deuteronomy chapter 30 and verse 15. It says, "See, I have set before thee this day life and good, and death and evil. In that I command thee this day to love the Lord thy God, to walk in his ways, and to keep his commandments and his statutes and his judgments, that thou mayest live and multiply, and the Lord thy God shall bless thee in the land whither thou goest to possess it." Right? "But if thine heart turn away, so that thou wilt not hear, but shalt be drawn away and worship other gods and serve them." All right, so Israel, right, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we got to come back to the Heavenly Father, the Most High God, Yahweh, in the name of his Son, Yahweh Shai, and come back to these laws, statutes, and commandments, and understand that we got to continue to press forward, continue to do the works of the Lord, not grow weary in well-doing. Okay, understanding that this is the path that we have to go through. This is the only road. You understand, we got to go through trials, tribulations. It's going to be hard at times, right? But we still got to we still got to drive forward through that. You got to be persistent in this walk. Okay, you got to have a high level of perseverance while you in this walk as well. And and with the understanding as well that we all have to be proved. The Lord is literally proving you. So when you at work, or when you going out and about, or when you in the four walls of your home, understand that at all times the Lord is proving you. Okay, when you want to get out the spirit and do A, B, and C, the Lord is remember, the Lord is proving you. This life that we in right now is a proven process. All right, and are you going to choose the Lord, the Most High God, or are you going to choose the world and the wicked things that it has to offer? All right, so Lord willing, brothers and sisters, edified. Kwam Yasha Allah, Shalom.